Brew Show. My name is Jonathan, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host Johnny. Johnny, great to see ya. We are in December. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, good to be with the people of Perth and Beyond in the heart of the festive season.
It's I like that you've got the Christmas digs on. I've recently had my work Christmas party. It's definitely the festive season with Santa and baubles and everything everywhere. But I think we're feeling a little bit festive today because what we're going to cover today is the Game Awards, which has been an enormous event. There's quite a bit out there about that, so we'll talk a bit through about what the Game Awards is, some of the winners, some of our favourite moments, and of course what we're all there for, the trailer reveals and the news and information that comes out about what to look forward to next year and years ahead, Johnny, in some cases. Before we do that, though, Johnny, I think you and I, we just can't help it, but we need to talk about a little early Christmas present that we've been enjoying ourselves. Let's get straight into it. Now, people of Perth and Beyond, we're going to talk a little bit about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. We've both picked it up on the Nintendo Switch 2. We're not going to give away any spoilers today, or we'll do an in-depth discussion. Just a couple of early impressions because we need to share that. We can't help but talk about it. But we will look at doing a Metroid Prime series spotlight next year at some point. But Johnny, I have beaten Metroid Prime 4. I couldn't help myself. I've gone hard. I've gone late night. You're in the middle of playing it. What can you tell us about those early impressions and how you're feeling about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond after all of these years?
I know it's been an 18-year wait for this game, and what I've experienced so far has made me feel like it's been worth the wait. So as I said, I haven't completed the game yet, John. So pretty please, no story spoilers. But I'm a fair way through it, and I'm just really enjoying the experience, and I'm enjoying it because I had to wait so long to get this game. I've not wanted to rush getting through the main story, so I've probably meandered a bit and gone and sort of wandered through the environments and sort of taken it all in. I think both of us have been playing in the quality mode. Is that right, John? In the
Correct.
high res kind of version. I haven't tried out performance mode to see a discernible difference, but the way I've been playing it's kind of worked to be in the quality mode.
Yeah, I've done the same. I found that picking up the Switch 2 and getting a feel for it as a Switch 2 game, because it is on the original Switch, 60 frames per second is certainly enough. And you do want the game to shine, and it looks beautiful in up to 4K res. So I've absolutely loved what I've seen visually of this game. Oh, it's just been an absolute delight. What I will say, Johnny, is that it was really nice that after all of these years and after replaying the original Metroid Prime Remastered is that it makes a very strong, I guess, visual impact on you as the gamer. It has been all those years. And I remember the 2018 announcement about the whole project being restarted.
Yeah.
And it's, we can go into detail in our series spotlight about meeting expectations in the full game, but those initial impressions for sure, and the look and the feel of the game is just premium in my mind. Was that your initial impression with this game?
Yeah, I agree, and I've got to say that firing it up on the first day I had it in my hands, it somehow was even more impressive than it was when we saw it at the demo at PAX, which was great. But I don't know, putting it up on a big screen at home was just so special. And that first night, all I did was just replay that opening trailer and the intro tutorial part that we got to play at PAX, because I just wanted to take it in because it's such a spectacular kind of opening. And then the next day I started to get into the game, deeper into the gameplay. But the visuals are just chef's kiss.
Absolutely. I think it was really clever that the way they started the game, and we've seen that in the demo playable where Samus arrives in that Galactic Federation planet, and it's kind of big and bombastic, and you kind of feel like you're at home in a way with the franchise. You're scanning things, and you're getting used to the controls, and your blaster and morph ball and all that stuff. And I think it's safe to say we'll talk a little bit about the first opening area, which Nintendo has, I guess, shown a lot in their public trailers, in the planet Viros, Fury Green, which is the kind of jungle forest area that you're first introduced to. It's absolutely stunning. I'm pretty sure the first thing I did when I arrived there was just looked around everywhere at every little crevice, took in every little sound. Gorgeous soundtrack, just very kind of perfect in terms of building the world of Viros. And, you know, I just brimming to say a lot more, but for me, like, a highlight was just seeing the little, like, kind of like leaf bugs crawl across, like, just the broken down branches, and going, oh, they've put so much effort into the detail. Like, you're seeing the leaves stir up in the wind, and you're seeing glowing pollen drift across, and then you're seeing these little leaf bugs. It doesn't have to be done, but all these things just make this feel like, oh, it is the elevated version of a Metroid Prime game that I've been waiting for on the Switch too. How about you, Johnny? Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely felt that the environments I've experienced, particularly Fury Green at the start, they're teeming with life. There's so much to scan. I can't help it. I love to scan and read the little descriptions, detailed descriptions. It's like, and you kind of wonder, like, how do they know what this thing, how it eats and stuff? But they've put so much work into these, into this biology and stuff of the environments that you go into. It's just so cool. I kind of love that they're also very much it's very much in the spirit of previous Metroid games. You know, I won't say details, but the first main boss you encounter in the game is very typical of a Metroid game. We talked a couple of weeks ago about how birds are always after Ryu Hayabusa. There's always a angry plant after Samus. And it's true in this game too. That's not really a spoiler because that happens in every Metroid game.
It does.
There's always like a kind of angry,
corrupted,
like little
angry
shop of,
plant.
little shop of horrors kind of deal with Samus. And that's such a fun boss fight, and it brings back great memories of the original Metroid Prime, one of the early bosses in the first Metroid Prime game. So I really enjoyed that. John, I'm really keen to hear what your thoughts were on the Viola motorbike, because that's quite a new element. And once you access that and you get out into the kind of, I don't know how to best describe it. It's like I wouldn't call it quite open world, but it's sort of like kind of like a hub world. And you get out on that motorbike, and I really enjoyed getting like the first couple of times I got the motorbike. I'll be honest, I just sort of rode around like a maniac and ended up dying so many times because I hadn't got the hang of all the sort of controls, and I hadn't found there's like an area where you kind of learn the ropes and driving Viola, which is so much fun in itself.
Oh, that area.
Yeah, in the Vault Forge, which is the area that we're looking at the moment. But yeah, I've enjoyed the Viola, and so much so that it's kind of caused me to meander and sort of not go after my main objectives, because I've just enjoyed kind of cruising around and collecting the green. There's this green kind of kryptonite looking like crystals that you can collect through that area. But have you enjoyed that mechanic, John?
I did. There's been a lot of flack about the motorbike all over the internet, and I know people kind of thought, oh gosh, what is this? And it doesn't look that good. That's not been my experience at all. I think the acquisition of the motorbike is just one of the coolest moments I've experienced in video games for a lot of reasons. I think the way they use the camera and they slow pan across, like how good Samus looks in her suit at that point in time, and getting the motorbike's like, oh, this is, motorbikes make everything cooler, and there's like this really kind of works. It's definitely a hub design rather than that kind of Breath of the Wild sandbox, I guess, or Assassin's Creed sandbox where you've got a clear destination and a few, I guess, activities, but you just want to hold accelerate, don't you, Johnny? Like,
Yeah.
you just want to go top speed to your next
Yeah,
destination or just do wheel, like, like do little, like, donuts and stuff like that. I
definitely.
love how the motorbike handles. I think it's in a game in the way the hub is designed. The handling of the motorbike is really good. Like the speed is really good. It's not too slow. It's not too fast. It's not difficult to control. It's not unwieldy, and it's fun. It's actually fun to get from point A to B to C or whatever. It's like, and it doesn't outstay its welcome in that sense.
Yep.
I cannot wait till we talk about that moment you were hinting at, where you acquire the motorbike and do the training in the full series spotlight, because that is just, yeah, that is phenomenal in my view, to be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's out of
visually
this
as well.
world. Out of this world.
It is. It is. That is an apt way to describe it.
Yeah. So I've had a bit of fun. I've been having a lot of fun with the amiibo for the game too. So I won't talk about all of them today because I want to not go for too long on this. But I've enjoyed like the Samus amiibo that came out with the game, or came out a few weeks before the game. So we had a couple of the amiibos before the game was actually out. So it was, just could display them. I guess there wasn't much you could do with them until the game came out. But when the game came out, the Samus amiibo gives you a little bit of a shield. So it's a bit like having an extra energy tank, which is actually kind of handy in those early levels where you don't have a lot of energy tanks. And particularly in that, in the Vault Forge where you acquire the Viola, because I died there a lot, so having that extra shield ability was handy. But as you said, the soundtrack is phenomenal. I love that it feels like Samus has like hired like an alien choir or something to just hum these exotic kind of sounding tunes in the background.
That is exactly it. I think like, I don't want to go into it, but that is the vibe throughout most of the game, where you just feel like everything is like sacred, and you're in part of an orchestra, and everything is like spectacular, so to speak. Like wherever you go, I get the alien choir, Johnny.
I'm really excited to keep going through the game, because so far different elements have felt like kind of callbacks to earlier entries in the series. That opening level / tutorial with the Galactic Federation troopers, that took me straight back to Metroid Prime 3 Corruption and the opening of that. That was a Wii game, so it's came out in 2007, I think, maybe even earlier. But then you go into, say, later in the game, and you gain some abilities where you have specialized ammunition for sort of specialized weapons. That feels like it's straight from Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, which is 2004 game. So yeah, I'm really interested to kind of keep going and seeing what other callbacks there'll be, if any, to previous entries in the series. And obviously Silax himself, the antagonist, his only other real appearance in the game's major appearance is in the Metroid Prime Hunters spin-off from the DS. So that's kind of interesting itself, that they've built a story around a character from a DS game in the 2000s. Yeah, really, really fun. No complaints. Yeah, really no complaints. Feel like it was worth the wait. Although it was a trying Metroid drought for a time until Dread came along and that kind of thing. But yeah, no, definitely enjoying the experience so far, and looking forward to getting around to completing the game in the next little while.
Awesome. Well, that's right, people of Perth and Beyond. Once Johnny does beat the game, and take your time, because we're in no rush. It's like I already want to go back and start playing parts and seeing other things, but we will give our full, I guess, not quite review, but our full series spotlight, or just focus on Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. But I can highly recommend it if you're a long-term fan, if you're a gamer who's not played a game of that type before, because it is a very unique genre, I guess, the Metroid Prime game. Switch apparently plays well on the original Switch. We've played it on Switch 2, so I can't speak to the original Switch, but absolutely worth enjoying over the Christmas break. All right, Johnny, so on to the other main topic for today. We recently were privy to the Game Awards. I mean, of course, we didn't attend in person. Unfortunately, it's a little tricky to get there. But we have seen the Game Awards. The Game Awards are the talk all over the internet, as they should be. They're a really great end-of-year wrap-up as a gamer, I think, whatever you play and whether you're casual or hardcore or anything, because they put the spotlight on the amazing year that was, keeping in mind that it only goes up until November. So some games miss that window in terms of nomination for the Game Awards. But a really good highlight to watch the whole presentation, if not read through the winners, check out some of the reveal trailers and funny moments. But before we get into that, Johnny, can you just share with us a bit of an intro to what the Game Awards is?
Yeah, so for the uninitiated, it's an annual event in Los Angeles, honoring, on paper, the best in video games, and it's hosted by video games industry journalist and sort of general sort of personality, Jeff Keighley. So people who followed our coverage of the Summer Games Fest year on year would be familiar with Jeff Keighley as kind of like the mover and shaker that brings together that presentation in the middle of the year. But his other kind of main pursuit is the Game Awards. And the Game Awards aren't the only Game Awards that are out there. There are also things like the UK have their version, which is like the BAFTA Video Game Awards. It sort of happens at a sort of different time of the year. But I think it's fair to say that the American Game Awards, the in LA, kind of do, especially over time, have kind of captivated the attention of gamers and people in the industry, and sort of has garnered more and more attention over time. So I think I was looking at a GameSpot article the other day that said that this year's Game Awards, so the Game Awards first started in 2014, this year's Game Awards had more live streams and sort of more eyeballs on them than, say, like the Super Bowl.
American 117 million views or something like that.
Over 170 at least, and that wasn't even counting. That wasn't even counting things like people watching on Amazon Prime and stuff like that. So that's just stuff like people watching on a live Twitch stream or YouTube stream. So this has grown, like it's grown significantly since it started back in 2014. I first kind of the Game Awards kind of came into my attention probably not too long after I got a Nintendo Switch, and I think at that sort of time I sort of had discovered Twitch and was using Twitch to follow the odd live game stream, and I just sort of happened upon the stream for the Game Awards one December afternoon, so something I've kind of come to notice relatively recently. What about you, John?
Yeah, I think for me it was around that kind of 2016, 2017, or maybe 2018, because it was smaller, I guess, back then.
It was, yeah.
Yeah, and then I guess it came to my attention, particularly because I bought my original Nintendo Switch when that was released, and you're hungry to see what is the next Switch game that's coming out, what's coming out for the new year. And Nintendo had used that as a vehicle to announce the Bayonetta 1 and 2 package, which I really wanted. And then that 3 was in development. So that was like super exciting for me. And I thought, I better go watch the awards now that I've seen the trailers. But they had also announced Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3, which is this sequel to a series that I loved on my 360, never expected. And it just came out of nowhere. And it was kind of perfect to announce that at the Game Awards because it reaches that broad audience of like PC and console gamers, and then draws their attention to particular games or consoles. So I thought that was really cool at that point in time. And since then I've become more interested in the wackiness of the shows, the
Yeah.
stuff that's kind of like shouldn't have happened. But also, I think it's curated quite well. And it's
I agree.
filled that kind of vacuum that E3 has left with the
Yeah.
fall of E3 and the rise of like an end of year show instead.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely interesting how the Game Awards has kind of changed over time too, especially as E3 kind of faded and sort of disappeared. That focus on reveals and gaming news, what's coming up, has become a greater emphasis. And I know some people have been critical of that it's taken away from the actual recognition and awards element of it. But I mean, I think people come for both. Most people, I think, come for both. Maybe people within the industry would probably like it to be more about the recognition and not so much about the promotion. But I don't know. I reckon it's. I think they've over time they've been trying to get a balance. My feeling is it's probably about right where it is at the moment. But yeah, I tune in every year because you just don't know what's going to pop up, and as we'll get into it, there's always something quite like unhinged that happens, and it's amusing. But then also there's some pleasant surprises, of things that are in the pipeline. So I've always enjoyed it.
Well, Johnny, maybe on that note, we'll go into like what the big winner, I guess, from the Game Awards was. I wouldn't mind putting that out there in terms of the recognition that Clair Obscur has gotten from what it's achieved this year. So the game of the year is, Clair Obscur Expedition 33. This is a game that one of our returning guests has played quite a lot, and we'll be talking about it our next episode next week.
We haven't played it. Sorry, people at Perth and Beyond.
We haven't played it. It's in our pile of discovery, not our pile of shame or
it's in our
completion.
Pile of expeditiousness.
That's right, and we need an expedition to play it. I mean, The fact is that with this game, what's really exciting about it is this is not a typical game you'd expect to win the Game Awards. In that lineup, there were things like Donkey Kong Bonanza, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, Hollow Knight Silk Song. It was kind of interesting, actually, this year compared to previous years, which sees more big, I guess, triple A games. And games like The Witcher 3, for example, Astrobot won the previous one, Elden Ring. So games that are the most kind of popular and biggest ones tend to win quite fairly. So it was good to see an indie, although obviously a high production game win from a French studio.
It was their first game, though, wasn't it? This
I think so. I'm not sure.
One of their first games, at least. Yeah. I think the publisher wouldn't be considered indie. I think it's been debated a bit about the studio, the developers. I think it's not overly controversial. They're indie developers, but I think the studio, the publisher behind them is quite well established from what I understand. I'm going to be really honest with the people of Perth and Beyond. I don't really know what this game is about. I know it has, after the awards ceremony, I know it has something to do with the French because the team turned up. The team behind the game turned up in like stereotypical French outfits with berets. I think there might have been baguettes.
They're line t-shirts.
So I know that there's a France
represent the country.
Representing, so they're very patriotic. But other than that, I know it's an RPG, and I know it's incredibly popular at the moment, especially after. And you have to acknowledge it's very impressive that it's a record breaking sweep of awards, but not being a big RPG guy, I'm sort of a bit, I'm sort of a little bit mystified by it all. But very impressive that they've just broken these records and won in so many different categories, and of course, Game of the Year, and up against some real stiff competition. It's great for great day for an indie studio, and obviously a great day for France.
Yeah, that's true. And I think what was interesting about how you were mentioning at the start about the Game Awards is the mix of the awards and the trailers. And I mean, I came for the trailers, and I'm now more interested in the awards. But I did read that Clair Obscur got a huge sales bump. Once at one game of the year, it just broadens that audience, and people haven't heard about it who might not necessarily be interested in a game that looks like that. And it's very much like a Japanese role-playing game. The architecture of the game, in many ways, with some modern twists and elements, it went out and sold more. So that's great to see. You know, that's the beauty of the Game Awards. But Johnny, were there any other Game Awards highlights for you in terms of the games themselves?
Yeah, there was, and one I was very pleased to see. I was very happy to see Supergiant Games pick up the award for Best Action Game for Hades 2. So I've picked this up pretty recently. I got to play it at PAX back in Melbourne in October. It was loads and loads of fun. I've been enjoying it. I've just been playing it this morning. It's great action, and I love the way this game has brought to life Greek mythology, and the action is really fun. Like you die a lot in this game, but
yep, that's a roguelite. Hey, that's how it works.
But it's not, you die a lot, but it's not kind of off-putting because you kind of jump straight back in, and they add in variety because like when you die in the game, you come back and you can interact with all these different Greek gods and different characters from Greek mythology. So when you die, you come back and you might bump into, say, I don't know, Odysseus, and Odysseus says, "Oh, did you get Kronos yet?" And there's all this kind of dry humor in it, like, and Melanoi, the main character, kind of says, "Oh yeah, I've got it in the bag. It's all good." And then it's all this like banter and stuff that kind of adds a lot of charm. But the action itself is so much fun. So I was really happy to see them pick up this award for Best Action Game, and they were up against some really tough competition. They're up against Ninja Gaiden 4, Shinobi, Doom: The Dark Ages. All look like incredible games too. But I do think, there is just this level of charm with Supergiant's Hades 2. And it was really nice to hear during the acceptance speech that the developers who'd worked on this game, is about a group of about 7 of them, and the first Hades, they've been together since they worked on like their first game. And I thought that was really cool, that there's this like really tight-knit team that's sort of still carrying on, and they've got this recognition. So I thought that was really nice. Was that bit of that was, in terms of awards highlights, that was probably the big one for me.
Nice. Well, for me, it was the winner of the Games for Impact category, because this is a game I've picked up on my Xbox Series and has just been announced to Switch and Switch 2, so I'm going to sell it to you, Johnny. It's South of Midnight by Compulsion Games. It's one that I've had my eye on for years. And the story behind that is because when I got the Xbox Series X, obviously it's been a really disappointing console over the lifespan. Huge droughts, huge development times, and this is one of the few, I guess, exclusive titles, which is great to see to come to other consoles. It's got a really great rating. It uses a lovely stop animation art style, and it's a kind of, not simple, but it's a 3D action platformer based in like the deep south of America and draws on that folklore there. So I actually, that's my next game lined up to play. Nice. There was some really interesting, like Wonder Stop and Despelote were in there too. So there were a couple of like interesting competitive games to play, but it's good to see this game, I guess, had the impact when it came out, and it's been well received. And in terms of like current gen graphics and next gen graphics, it's stunning. Like, it's sort of meant to look realistic, but it's obviously influenced by the Spider-Man, Into the Multiverse, those kind of movies. So South of Midnight, really, really good to see. I'm glad it hasn't just disappeared.
You don't have to sell that too hard to me either, John, because I remember when we saw the preview of it at the start of the year in I think it was the Xbox Developer Direct, it looked really impressive. And I was puzzled as to how would I play this, because I don't have a good enough gaming PC. I've got an old laptop, but the news that it's going to get a Switch 2 port is great news for me, because then I can get into it, because it looks really cool.
Yeah, awesome. I think a lot of people will feel the same as you, Johnny. It's just good that these games are available on more consoles for people to
Mm.
experience as well. Well, in terms of, so there's a whole lot of awards that those are our highlights. But I think we also do need to talk about the trailers, Johnny. So let me know, what was your favorite reveal in terms of the game trailers or announcements, movie trailers included, I guess,
Oof. Yeah.
from the Game Awards this year.
Look, there was so much, but you know what I'm going to mention first, I think, and that
I do.
is I don't know who was more excited, me or Jeff Keighley, because when towards the end of the Game Awards, there was a reveal that there's new Mega Man 2D Mega Man in development, and it's due to land in 2027, I believe.
Yes,
And
yes.
they showed like a split second or a couple of seconds of some gameplay footage. It looks very much like the kind of Super Nintendo era of Mega Man, which was a fantastic era of Mega Man. That made me very happy. I'm a big fan of the Mega Man franchise, going all the way back to the NES, as you know, John. And this was followed up just in recent days with news that Capcom has basically announced that they plan to kind of elevate the Mega Man IP to be kind of on the same kind of tier as like Street Fighter, for example,
Monster
which
Hunter,
yeah,
Resident
Monster
Evil, all
Hunter.
those, like that kind
So
of top level. Yeah.
yeah, that just made me really happy because I think Mega Man is a fantastic character and just a great concept. As a funny aside, as you know, John, I sent our a mutual friend of ours a link to a reading of the junior novelization of Mega Man 2 as a bit of a laugh. But yeah, that Mega Man is a franchise dear to my heart. So very happy to hear that there's more on the way in not so far off 2027.
No, time will fly, and it looks good, doesn't it, Johnny? Like, do you
Yeah.
like the art style and what it
Oh,
looks like? Are
yeah.
you liking that?
Yeah.
Digging that?
I'm
Yeah,
very excited for it.
yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, you could tell Jeff was, as an old school gamer, was quite pumped for it himself.
Gonna go back, play through the Mega Man collection 1 and 2. That guy, I'm sure. Well, my highlight for the show, there was quite a lot. I don't know, people were more interested in Larian Studios' new game, but for me, it was Lords of the Fallen 2. So I'm a huge fan of the Dark Souls games. I've played 1, 2, and 3 all the way through twice. Haven't played Elden Ring yet. I've then went on to Lords of the Fallen on the Series X, which I loved, and that studio is, I guess, is of all the all the Souls-like games that are closest to Dark Souls, this is the one that's kind of most like Dark Souls for me. So the fact that they announced Lords of the Fallen 2, it's all very gritty and it's all very intense, and there's a lot of religious iconography in there. It's all very it's a lot, but I don't know what it is. These games just click with me quite well. It looks like what I want from that series. And the original got a huge update too recently, a couple updates to refine it. So I'm very excited to jump back into this and, experience what kind of horror from the pits of hell is just going to come up against me. Really excited for Lords of the Fallen 2. I really like what's being done there in that space. Johnny, were there any other game trailer or other trailer reveals that you want to give a shout out to that you really enjoyed?
Yeah, look, I was quite interested in the reveals they had for the Tomb Raider 30th anniversary. I played a lot of the original Tomb Raider on the MS DOS version, like back
I was
on
going to
PC.
say, what was that? You mean like the 3D version that was on PlayStation 1? Like with the
I
dual
think
guns? Is
it.
that?
I think so, but it was like
Yeah,
very kind of. I remember it being. I didn't own it. I played it at friends'
yeah.
houses, and it was very kind of blocky graphics. But
That
it
would be
so
the PlayStation 1
yeah,
original, I'd
very.
say.
It was
Yeah.
just very memorable, and I think that for the fact that they're for the 30th anniversary going to do a reimagining of that original Lara Croft adventure, I think that's very cool. And they showed us um, trailers because I think there's two different titles
There are
kind of in the work.
yeah.
So,
Legacy of Atlantis is coming first, and then
yes,
I don't remember the name of the other one, which is coming a year later. It's
a
kind
year
of
later.
interesting that they announced both. They're just like, by the way, we've got a second game in development a year later. Yeah.
Look, Lara Croft is a very popular character in gaming of the gaming ages, and and it's more of the kind of Indiana Jones style kind of adventuring, and that appeals to me very much. I hadn't really played any more Tomb Raider games since that OG one, but I might get back into it for the 30th anniversary. And they showed us kind of cool stuff with like Lara messing around with dinosaurs and stuff. So
that was awesome. Hark back to the OG stuff. That was awesome.
So I reckon it's going to be fun. It's going to be worth checking out at least. So I thought that was pretty neat.
Yeah, that looked really cool because it was like the original PlayStation Tomb Raider game, and she's got the blue again, and they've moved away from that kind of gritty version of Lara that they've done in the more recent games, which I've played and I really enjoyed them. So it was kind of cool to see like, it's a little bit more campy, but looks a little bit more like empty, less human enemies from what I saw. I really like the look of it too.
I think it would be cool.
It'll be fun. Good time. Well, another one of the standouts to me was definitely Star Wars Galactic Racer. So I'm not a huge Star Wars fan. I enjoy the Star Wars, like the movies, the games, but I'm more of a casual interest in it all. But the Star Wars Galactic Racer looked just fantastic. Like thinking about the racing game genre where we've seen Mario Kart World, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and there are games like the Forza, the latest Forza games. There's nothing else like this, though, on the market, so to speak. And I think I have really fond memories of like the N64 Star Wars Pod Racer game, which I remember playing it with friends and I enjoyed it, but it was very limited and very basic with what the hardware could do. Like there weren't like power-ups and collectibles really. It was just like you're flying and maneuvering. I think there'll be a lot more to this. And I can see this being a game that clicks with just like the racing genre fans and Star Wars fans. And it looked like I think there were snippets of gameplay, Johnny. I couldn't quite tell because it just looks so good and it's hard to differentiate between like what's FMV, I guess, and what's like in-game engine. But this looks really cool. What do you think?
Oh, no. I thought the Star Wars fans were being treated very well in this Game Awards. So obviously the Galactic Racers looks very cool, and it will be
Fate of the Old Republic was the other game, wasn't it?
The other one, yeah. Look, I'm not the biggest fan of the Old Republic Jedi kind of Sith simulator games. I know they're extremely popular, and the only reason I probably haven't gotten into them is they cover a period of the Star Wars timeline that I'm not terribly interested in. But I reckon I thought the trailer looked beautiful. It was very cinematic. And it will be great for fans of those games to get a chance to play a modern kind of KOTOR style game. So I thought that Star Wars gaming fans are eating well. Well, we'll be eating well in the coming years by the looks of it.
Yes, very true. Johnny, were there any other trailers in general that you wanted to chat about before we wrap up today?
I was very curious. I really wanted to hear your impressions of the Resident Evil reveal because I was kind of surprised that you were a bit underwhelmed by that. Is that right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's mixed feelings. So to be clear, Leon is probably my favourite character, one of my top characters in the whole series. And I think that's true for a lot of people because I guess he came to the front in Resident Evil 4 and I experienced that on the GameCube and loved it. And the remake is incredible as well. So I think that's great. But this game to date has been marketed to us that I think it's Grace. I can't remember the other protagonist's name, but she's like an investigator reporter. And a lot of the talk has been around how she's a lot more, she's not like a FBI agent. She's not like a SWAT agent. Like she's not a unit of stars like the Resident Evil equivalent of the SWAT team. So I was wanting this game to focus more on like that sense of powerlessness that you experience in Resident Evil Village, in Resident Evil 7, even though you do become more empowered as the game goes on. And they had talked about it being a game that you can play in first and third person view. And I know people have their preferences. I like the first person view that's been introduced, Village being my favorite game. So I felt like there was enough in terms of what they'd shown us. So when they brought in Leon, it's like, oh, awesome, Leon's here, but oh no, this is now an action Resident Evil game in the third person where I'm suplexing people, like, which is what you do in Resident Evil 4. It's got that silly campiness about it.
Yeah.
I think it's great. Whereas, like, I wanted to play mostly as her and experience that terror investigative side. So, look, hopefully they still do that. And I think maybe they'll develop Leon's kind of investigative skills and style of gameplay more. I think that's what they're leaning at, which is fine. So I think it'll be okay. But it was just like, oh, this is what they've sold this part of the game, and this is enough for me. Or I guess maybe some people felt like it wouldn't have been action oriented enough, and they wanted Leon. So I'll see how that shakes out. Yeah,
interesting.
I think we do need to talk about Street Fighter, Johnny. What happened on the stage with the Street Fighter trailer announcement?
Yeah, well, obviously we got a teaser trailer for the Street Fighter movie coming out, I think around October, November next year, I think, John.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and we got a short teaser, and we got to see how they're really going for it with the style. Like they're really I think they're very honoring the source material very much. So like you look at the costumes and the character designs, like, yeah, it does look like they're going for that, that really
it's all in, isn't it?
Over the top kind of cartoony look. Like, is it Roman Reigns who's playing Guile, and he literally has like the flat top, like.
Is it Cody Rhodes? I'm not sure.
Cody Rhodes.
It doesn't seem to matter. Cody Rhodes is doing
Cody
Guile,
Rhodes.
And it's like, oh wow.
There's a lot of WWE people in this cast. Yeah.
Yes, there are. One is more than enough.
I mean, come on, Jason Momoa as Blanca, but after the reveal of the short teaser trailer, pretty much the full cast of the Street Fighter movie came out onto the stage and sort of, amped up the crowd, and there was not, it was kind of a bit of fun. But I guess we have to talk about the Andrew Schultz, who plays Dan Hibiki in the movie. And Dan has always been like a comedic relief character in the Street Fighter games and comics and that kind of thing, and anime and stuff like that. And he kind of came out and did this kind of prank where he said, "There's not enough fighters on this stage to give out this award." And they were giving out, I think they were giving out the award for the most best ongoing game or something like that. Not that it sort of was by the by. And he said, and he kind of he was amping up the crowd and saying, "And the cast of Mortal Kombat 2 are going to come out," and obviously they weren't there, of course. And there was
there was a brief pause though, Johnny, wasn't there?
There was a pause, a pregnant pause.
Like, oh, they're going to bring them out, and you're kind of like, but why? And then
he kind of sort of, he basically then just sort of was casting shade on the Mortal Kombat 2 cast. He said, "They don't care about you, they only care about money." And it was very humorous because then he followed up with, "We care about you and money."
Yeah.
It was just a goofy moment. Like the whole thing was just so goofy. I was there for it because, as we've discussed off air, John, the Game Awards, I think, we come a little bit for the weird, unhinged things that go on at the Game Awards, and this is probably very much in that category. But I thought it was kind of fun because it gave us a bit of that 90s rivalry between Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter. So I was kind of there for it, and it kind of works for it to. I think it's so appropriate that it was the actor playing Dan Hibiki to be doing that, because that character was created basically to cast shade on a different fighting franchise. It was Capcom's way of having a shot at SNK's Art of Fighting. So it's kind of appropriate for it to be Andrew Schultz doing that.
It was awesome. What did you make of the trailer itself? Like, because when I saw it, I was kind of shocked that how all in they were with the game. As like, oh no, they're just putting the game with real people, and like the cast is ridiculous. Let's not kid ourselves. Like Cody Rhodes, like guys like that. I mean, Jason Momoa. So like he's more experienced. He's got bigger roles. But I think they've just gone, we're going to draw on the star power and we're going to lean into like the gaming community and just say, you know what, we're just going to make it a Street Fighter movie rather than trying to make it realistic with one particular famous lead. So are you liking what you're seeing with the trailer? Like, is this something you think you'll go see at the cinemas?
To be honest, I think it works. Street Fighter is a little bit goofy, and you have to kind of have to accept that. If you accept that, you can kind of enjoy the silliness of it. Like, to be honest, I'm kind of excited for it. I love that they've got Dusmulchin as M. Bison, because I think he'll do really good in that. Like, he'll bring that role together really well. He's a great actor. I'm in for like the silliness of it, because Street Fighter has never really taken itself too seriously. It is different from Mortal Kombat, which we talked about on the last episode. It's not lore heavy. It's a bit more kind of, it's a bit sillier, and it's like it's like a popcorn movie. It's my only thing is, I really think it's a missed opportunity to not call it Street Fighter 2, given the roster that they're bringing in for this movie, because it's quite expanded. And I know they maybe it's a licensing thing, or maybe it's they don't want to remind people of the Van Damme and Kylie Minogue version from the 90s. But yeah, it felt Street Fighter 2. It would have been great to have Mortal Kombat 2 and Street Fighter 2 in the same year, but you can't have it all.
No. I mean, the fact that we're getting a Mortal Kombat movie and a Street Fighter movie, which has been desired for many years now, because we've not had like a good Street Fighter movie, is incredible that we're getting those in the same year. I think as long as they get the martial arts choreography right, like it doesn't look too goofy in that sense, and you can suspend your disbelief and just like get really into that part of it. You as a fan or just someone who likes these kind of movies, you'll enjoy it. So, no, it looks good. Were there any other big trailers or reveals you wanted to give a shout out to, Johnny? I've got one more up my sleeve before we wrap up.
I think we can save it to the end, but it's not so much a trailer; it's just sort of a moment. But if you've got one more gaming highlight, maybe go to that first.
So, well, actually, mine is a movie highlight, so it's more
cool.
of a
go. That's cool.
Yeah, so I think like the Mario Galaxy kind of little teaser that we got was kind of funny. I think it was smart that Nintendo brought that as well, rather than like their games, because the movie has broader appeal. Gosh, Johnny, this is coming out in April. I can't believe it. It feels like it's just coming out of nowhere, because we did see that reveal during the Nintendo Direct, which had the 40th anniversary celebrations. Clearly, there's a big focus on the whole Mario Galaxy, I guess, games, but also world, so to speak, which is interesting because we saw the launch of the 1-2 package. It makes me wonder, is the third game coming? This was a very brief little teaser, but I think it did the trick. And I think I'm sure if you enjoyed the first movie, you'll enjoy the second. But what do you make of this little teaser at the Game Awards and how the movie's looking as well overall?
Yeah, obviously they were showing us a lot of Bowser Jr. and there was a cool little action sequence. I think Luigi does like the Captain Falcon knee smash in that little action set piece. So
and it rubs his knee because he's hurt himself. Classic Luigi.
Very Luigi. That's classic Luigi. Yeah, no, this will be a fun one when it comes out in April. The first animated Mario movie a couple of years ago was really well done. So I think they're in good hands with Illumination. Yeah, and I think it was good that they showed us a bit of that in the Game Awards, because it's not long at all till April now. It's only a few months.
Yep, it'll fly. Yeah, not long to go. And what was your final trailer that you wanted to bring up?
It's not so much a trailer, just a sort of kooky moment.
Yeah.
And as we're saying, like, the Game Awards is kind of just there's always like one kind of unhinged, kind of unscripted or seemingly unscripted thing that occurs, and I couldn't take my eyes off when they would. Obviously, they bring out every year for Game of the Year. They bring out the orchestra and they play the signature piece of music from each of the nominees, which is impressive in itself, and it's a cool way to unveil the nominees and get to the Game of the Year. But I don't know about you, John, but I couldn't take my eyes off Flute Man.
Flute Guy.
Flute Guy.
That's his official name. Like that's.
I think
he's everywhere.
I think Flute Man should be in the next Mega Man game. He should be one of the robots. But like every time the camera panned away back to him after panning away, he had a different instrument, a different kind of flute. I was rubbing my eyes at one point, because at one point it literally looked like he was playing a segment of PVC.
It just looked like he'd just gone into like the bathrooms of the Game Awards, ripped it off the wall, drilled some holes, and goes, "Oh, that's what I'm playing for."
He's just come from the TGA's Bunnings and come out with his PVC and just keeps going. And he was really going for it. Like in that orchestra setup, he was really he was putting his heart and soul into it. So I thought we had to make a shout out to Flute Man, Flute Guy.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's everywhere.
Out of this world. Standout highlight from the Game Awards 2025, John.
He's a lot of fun. Like, and seeing him play that weird PVC shaped flute. What even is that? I've never even seen an instrument like that before. No, it deserves a shout out. And I think it's also just like the Game Awards. Some people give it flack and say it was boring, or there wasn't enough, or the games they wanted revealed weren't revealed. But there's so much positive stuff about the Game Awards, like the musicians, the developers, the publishers, the journalists, everything. Like there's so much positive stuff to come out of it. So it's a great time if you haven't watched it or caught it up, or it's something you're looking to keep in touch with, like in years ahead. But anyway, in terms of today's episode, we are out of time. So I hope you enjoyed our coverage today with our early Metroid Prime 4 Beyond impressions and the Game Awards as well. Our final episode is coming up next weekend. So we're going to talk about some of the favourite games we played this year. And we'll be welcoming Tim back as well to talk about Clair Obscur, because we can't. He has played that game to completion, and
he's going to confirm for us whether it's about France or not, because that's my burning question.
That's the only question we'll have for him on the show too, Johnny. Is it about France? Nothing else. We don't want to hear anything else. It's all done. But thank you for joining us for another episode today. We've had a blast. Hope you've enjoyed the show, and we will continue on into next year. For those we catch on the flip side, Merry Christmas. And if you don't catch an episode, Happy New Year. Catch you later.